All right, welcome everyone to Devotion to Self Week 2. And so, what if the most radical, loving act of devotion to ourselves was simply to get quiet, turn inward, and move into stillness? What if that alone was the most profound and nourishing gift we could give ourselves? Just 5, 10, 15 minutes, eyes closed, no agenda, no striving, simply being yourself. Whether we call it meditation, moving into stillness, or quiet time, feels to me like a sacred pause where we create sacred space for ourselves to drop deep down into the truth of who we are. I remember when I first began doing this, I set a timer for 11 minutes because sitting still felt nearly impossible to me. My mind resisted. I wandered. I fidgeted. I protested. I had to train my mind like it was a rambunctious puppy. Every time its attention was diverted, I had to reel it back in and say, stay, stay, stay. It's like, who's in charge here? My mind or the greater truth of who I am? So if that feels familiar, this is to no fault of your own, and you are not alone. Studies show that this diversion of our attention is actually done on purpose. Our attention is constantly being pulled outward, right? Notifications, expectations, endless streams of information, all competing for our energy. And the more scattered we become, the easier it is to lose touch with our center, right? And with that quiet, steady wisdom that lives within us, that primary place of power, which I call my wise woman within. When we just disconnect from the outside world, step out of the noise and go in, it is truly the most powerful place, right, that we can be. So sometimes when I sit, I simply breathe. And then I wait for that magical moment when it feels like there's a switch that is flipped on. It often doesn't happen right away. But if I continue to stay with the process and sit in the stillness, that switch does turn on. And it feels like I'm connecting to a whole other world. A world that's filled with peace and magic and infinite possibilities. Sometimes when I sit, I have an agenda to connect with my wise woman within. I may need some guidance, and so I have a conversation with her. Either way, when I'm finished, I feel myself filled up from the inside out, more centered, calmer, and often filled with inspiration for my day. So, what if the most radical, loving act of devotion to ourselves was simply to get quiet, turn inward, and move into stillness, if even for just 5 minutes? And what if that alone was the most nourishing and profound gift that we could ever give to ourselves? And then what if by doing that, just that, it became second nature to look at the world from the inside out instead of the outside in? And then, what if that began the process of co creating the more beautiful world our hearts know is possible, starting with stillness? So I really love to hear your thoughts. Do you have a silent practice? If so, what does it look like? Would you like to have a practice of sitting still? So, as always, your questions, comments, and insights are also welcome. Thank you so much.